Okay, I am online. My name is Evil Machine, and I'm a simple bot playing indie games. Oh, my sound is doubled. Okay, now it's correct. I am back at Roadwarden. I played this game before last year, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm back at it again. And this is the second stream of the second playthrough. I started in the outpost, I made my way left to the inn, to the ruins of a city, to a weird tree, to an elder's cave, and now I am in Howler's Dell. I feel like I'm playing way faster. Like in one day I did that whole trip. Because I feel the first time I played, I was trying to be very cautious. I didn't know how big the map was gonna be. So I went really slow. And it took me... I only discovered some parts of the map in the last week of the playthrough. And I feel like this time I know the map a little better, so I'm going a little bit faster and discovering things that took me many days in-game to discover last time. And I already got some options that I did not unlock the last time. Anyway, I'm in Howler's Dell to talk with the mayor, so let's go into that conversation. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey to a beam placed just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Agro, which is the name of my palfrey, starts to chew on the nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. You return to the inn. I look for the mare and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk, and the added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mare titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you go help Papa in the kitchen, eh? I don't know what I feel like this is maybe supposed to be Scottish accent? I'm not sure. She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to her companion. I observe her more closely. Her long, full-sleeved linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Hovlavan. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape, as thin as a shawl. The brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers, growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale, with powdered and rouged cheeks, and her lips matched her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick gray strands in her long blonded hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She is shorter than most people around, though would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands and fragile add fragility to her appearance. Even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. I wait as long as it takes. After a few minutes, the boy lets out a gentle cough, and after a pat on the back, the mare puts him on the ground. You did a great job, love, but now I need to speak with our guest. Darling, she addresses one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. Yes, ma, she responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble their mother. So we have a Roadwarden again. Please sit down. She vaguely shows you the palm of her hand, open hand, letting you pick any place you want. I'll sit opposite to her. You have a good look at the inn's front door, leading to a cellar-like ground floor. It's dark, with crates and barrels covered with fruits, nuts, and vegetables. The actual inn is upstairs, but the only people who got in or out are the workers, most of whom are teenagers. The mayor observes your outfit carefully, maintaining a polite though cool smile. Once your eyes meet, she hardly ever looks away. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring you something soon. I appreciate it. Don't mention it. Hunger makes me peevish, and the day is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at the flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we are waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. Eva, if you are but a mercenary, I can imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening, ni so long after Asterian's disappearance. That's ni glory nor a treasure to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the four fingers pointing at you. You are sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. Friendly, playful, intimidating, vulnerable. I don't think she is playful. She seems very serious. I present Hovlavan's interest as an opportunity. I portray the situation as lightly as I can. I simply explain the situation. I make it clear that collaborating with the city would keep her people safe. Well, she caught me. No, I'm gonna go for... I simply explain the situation. You introduce yourself and confirm her suspicions. The guild and the deputy are in agreement. They are willing to send troops to displace, defend the settlements, and patrol the roads. They'd cover their pay, you'd only have to look after their board and lodging. You explain that the rate of taxes is open to negotiations, but they would be taken twice a year in spring and fall. You have time to think about it, you assure her, and you are free to consult with your people. Safer roads bring many travelers, artisans, merchants. I know you realize it's an opportunity. Yes, I do, she finally interrupts you. But roads bring other people as well, not all of them desired by us. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle left and right, left and right. The times have changed, and your superiors were kind enough to send a messenger, not a temple guard, with a list of demands. She grasps the buckle with her fist. But when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is almost now identical to the one used in the city. What sort of catch? I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. You don't have to trust anyone blindly. The negotiations can satisfy both sides. You are speaking from experience, I assume. I want to go with either you don't have to trust anyone blindly, or you're speaking from experience. Let me see. I think I'm gonna go with you are speaking with experience, I assume. From experience. Do I really sound that confident? She titters and waves her hand by her chin, as if you just offended her, as if you just offered her a compliment. I've seen such negotiations during my studies, though I can't say I took an active part in them. Let me show you an example. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another. She leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her hand to freely make gestures. You make a deal with the settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coins and tools. You send the first traders and they imply that you are ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can't butcher any more mouflons, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock, just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. As she pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts, and she has no issue switching between accents. Do I encourage her? I'm not really interested. But well, it's my job to be the messenger, so yeah, I encourage her. She swings her hands above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons cost a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mouflons, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms, like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and lands. They can't refuse. I nod. She's right, and it's better not say anything stupid. Yes. Don't you think the city would see value in keeping you strong? I smile. I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect her people from those games. No, I don't want to say anything stupid. The pause doesn't linger for long. I see we understand each other. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thais, one of the keepers of the Ape Ale, and the mayor of Howler's Dell. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answers back to Hovlavan. She wonders for a moment. Say, when could we expect the first caravan? After winter? It depends on what you can sell. Oh, I'm fully nourished. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mouton, covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey, tempts you to bite it right away. The juices are sinking into the round trencher, a plate made of simple brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped radishes and sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It is all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mare as their mother, and in the end the innkeeper himself shows up to issue a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Thais tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grains and vegetables with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You are not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild's not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. For we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creeks sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping the roads safe. White marshes, on the other hand, as well as old pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her leg. So tell me, Evo, how's Hovlavan? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Things stay humble but are starting to look brighter. The harbor is full of life and the kids grow strong. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation's ready to start their own fight. It's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand, and there's not enough settlements to send them away. Many people are unable to prosper. I'm gonna go with the middle ground. Things are not great, but they're not terrible either. So I'm gonna go with sometimes better, sometimes worse. And I was afraid it was lost to hunger. Her chuckle streamed with scorn. Good to know I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell out all the blades and flock and food they had stored. Can you believe? This panic will make us rich, she imitates the voice of a pompous man. That's why when the Southerners reached the villages they found almost nothing to eat, she cites. Staying in a remote peninsula truly can be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, then shakes her head slightly. Well, I can't change the past. How can I help you, Ivo? Looking for a Starion. Not gonna ask for about the necromancers right away. Tell me about Howler's Dell, ruined village, Pelt of the North. No, let's start with tell me about this city, Howler's Dell. It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture. Though I hope to still improve this and that, she winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy, who hurt his knee during a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters, then meets your eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want, building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a good few minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, and wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she improved their conditions. She also omits some topics. You hear of no tales, songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. It's like listening to a tax collector. Only at the very end of her speech does she mention the wisdom of the elders, now kept in the teachings of the druids who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds and our gardens, she explained, but then changes the topic to all the fruit, trees, hairs, and nuts in the woods. Yeah, she's definitely a politician. Once she's done with it, I nod politely. I wonder, back in Hovleven, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. Since the war, even the soldiers have avoided the street. People say it's a home for thugs. You wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectable street with one of the fanciest inns in the city, the Apple and the Boar. It won't make you feel like you are in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. There's no such street anymore. It fell to a great fire. I'm feeling like there was an invasion, there was a war, so I'm feeling that street is not there anymore. You tell her about the riots that happened 2 years after the invasion, led by hungry, ill people with no place to go. You describe briefly the streets that have risen from the ashes, but it doesn't spark her interest. I can't say I miss that place, but it's weird to think that such a strong memory is no longer a part of reality. Like a tree that you walked by 1,000 times and one day is being cut down. She sits silent, absently observing your lips. I feels a little bit rude to ask, "Oh," right away, to a sort of a stranger. We are meeting for the first time, so I feel it's a little bit rude to just ask, "Oh, how do you make money? What's your secret? You're richer than the people around. Why?" So I'm not gonna ask that. I'm gonna ask about Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns towards Agro. "Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mule." So she's avoiding the subject. "A stallion, so it won't give you anything stronger than a hiney." "It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy." Okay, she's avoiding the subject. She's avoiding Asterion for some reason. That is a mystery that I did not find. The last time I played this game. So this time around I want to try to find out what the hell happened to Asterion, because that stayed a mystery the first time I played. I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna go with I need it to stay strong and healthy. Right, there's no time for the romances of draught animals. It would take almost a year, correct? It was all just a thought. When her eyes return to you, they regain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks about that man. Let him remain as a part of the past spring. Since you are asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goal with yours. Do I know that Asterion was here? Was meant to do something for the people at White Marches and disappeared soon after that. I won't deny that. Yet you are already different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me bluegrass. Seeing you frown, she waves it off. It's just a saying. His words were stronger than his deeds, and he is no longer welcome here. What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Aegidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden or their guru should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl? She never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him, for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful, yet hesitant. She's with the fogs now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them and to cry with them. I could tell stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. Any ideas where I can look for him? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of his time between white marshes, gale rocks and creeks. Here he wasn't that eager to share his plans. I'm not comfortable telling her she got a big family right after she just told me her daughter died, so thanks for the help. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, the merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes, way too long for my taste. They got mud stained after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. Not anymore, there's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics, like in the old days. For years there was not enough hemp and wool at hand, so people have started to wear furs again. As far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. I'm not sure, I don't pay much attention to fashion. Yeah, I'm a Roadwarden. I don't pay attention to fashion. I'm always on the road. I have to wear things that are practical, not things. Yeah, I don't pay attention to fashion. She pushes you with more detailed questions. What do the merchants wear? How about priests? Do armorers have enough lining and padding? You struggle to say much and she finally falls silent, observing you with annoyance. Oh no, was that a wrong? I was in Pelt of the North. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glosh's band. When you mention the raids on the northern villages, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first time I've heard about it. Glosha has been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. I could ask around, learn more about this. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea! There are only 3 villages in the north. White Marshes farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you will get my answer. I'm paid for passing the message from here to Pelt of the North. Asking me for a ride for you, then... No, I can do that. Just a message. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you are from, Ivo. What's your story? Have you lived in Hovlavan your entire life? In a way, I know it is as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship in a nearby village. Only for a bit. I was raised in a village just nearby and moved to the city after I had decided to look for luck as a Roadwarden. My past is already buried, let's not dig into it. Okay, after years of training to become a fighter, I left home. So... I don't feel like the first one is me. Although, but every spring I train in horsemanship in a nearby village. I trained... After years of training, or because I'm escaping my past, I might say, oh, my past is already buried, let's not dig into it. Let's go with that. After a few heartbeats, she breaks the awkwardness with a smile. And what else bothers you in the present? I was in the ruined village south from here. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about the tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of the herds. A long pause. And I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us, a wound we won't forget. What would it take to make you consider joining Hovlavan? I can't consider it right now. While she laughed, her eyes remained keen. But if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up and to the right, theatrically raising her hand to her chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a good start. Since you are the guild's messenger, I need to know you can be relied on. She gives you a wide grin. And that's only the first step, I assume. Of course. Do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. Yeah, looks like we're in agreement. Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning close to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. Oh, she is ready for a fight. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. Oh, so kind of you to ask, but before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mare's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterian's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads and not much news reached us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with how obviously fake it is, and help you learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. I smile back at her. You mean ones that weren't meant to reach you. See? I knew that deep down you are a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? I think it's okay if I share about the squad. Since they cleared the camp of brigands... Brigands? I don't know that word. They went so quietly I almost forgot about them. She rubs her chin with her thumb. I'm surprised they've managed to stay alive till this day. Sending such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials misjudged this land. That's all I have to say. I keep thinking surely city folk don't eat just wild game. Salt fish and groats. What animals do people breed in the nearby villages? Ibexes, I'm not sure what ibexes are. There's a lot of mouflons. It depends, mostly pond fish and fowl, but some can afford to buy boars. There's barely any meat, so people have started to raise crickets and rats. Ibexes, even though I don't know what ibexes are. Yeah, let's go with ibexes. So just like in the old days, I even saw some of them in the city. They are annoyingly good at climbing those onto roofs and walls. But more importantly, she adjusts her dress and smiles, it means that our mouflon cheese and wool are going to be quite a commodity. Will I spend the whole day here? I want to explore a little more. I'm gonna end this conversation. Thank you for your time. We're in front of the mayor, the innkeeper. Do I have money? I have 5, no, I have 4 coins. Let's see Akakios, the trader. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk trade in peace. Weevils! He points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire! 'Twas ground a few days ago. Knee pierce for us tomorrow, looks like. I have no idea what that sentence was. What the... 'Twas ground a few days ago. Knee pies for us tomorrow, looks like. I don't understand. Have no idea what's going on in this dialogue. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, eh? Eva the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest string made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it was too large for him, and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Hovlavan. He stands sideways to you with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy. With a humble beard and hair, his fingers are unusually long. You are a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other more often. Are you a barrel corrector or do you sell them? I'm looking for a trader. I'm here to trade, not talk. No, I'm gonna go friendly. For you, a trader. For my neighbors, the treasurer. Name's Akakios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here are mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. But I can show you our wares if you want. But do not ask me for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thais will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. Okay, I have nothing to sell, but let's see if they have something to sell. Something I can buy. This is hard to say what the travelers need. He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize that it is what it is by the shape alone. Tell me this is near beauty, he chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. I already got an axe, right? I already got a well-crafted battle axe. The heft is long, but the head is light. I know what you are thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade as sharp as they get. You are not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just a decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles. You like it, eh? Now I doubt you can afford it, but do not worry, that's near all I have. I look at the rest of the stuff. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. It is glued and is quiet, he says while shaking it in the air. Near as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without lurking all the corpses, eaters, and goblins. Perfect for a traveler, just take a look. Inside the lantern you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses. Hide and glue are easy to make, but I only ask for more than 4 rings. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings. And who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan. He gives you a long look. Interested? I only have 4 rings. I do have some candles, okay. The wooden lantern is the only one I can buy. But all my money is gonna be gone. I'm gonna get more money, then I'm gonna come back. What can you tell me about Asterion? That ever thought he was here more than once? He didn't leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around and spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade for me. From me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure. It was a special one. A sickle? Sword. With a tip wider than it was at the grid. Wait, what? The tip is wider than it was at the grip. Longest from fingertips to the shoulder, near sword, near knife, single-edged. Bought his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for? Fencing? More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will need fall a tree, but it is a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it, nuts and mufflons. So he took it to the wilderness. He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north and the heart of the woods. Can he help you with? Quests. Find the Roadwarden. Okay. Do you need any help? I could use a job. Know what? That's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Need that she's hurt on anything. He raises his open palms as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods. I cannot teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. You have, he hesitates, almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. And where can I find such a potion? I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos, on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon. I don't know what accent to do. But they often brew with Noma. You can also head south, east of the crossroads, behind Pelt of the North. I've need there myself. I think it should be a Scottish accent. Not that I am capable of doing a Scottish accent, but I feel like it's supposed to be a Scottish accent. But you found a Dolmen there, as old as a city. And this? He reaches for his clinging pouch and pulls out a massive iron key. It's meant to open some secret passage there. She didn't want to take the stall after you? How do you know about that secret? For a merchant, she's from south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up. And you're just keeping this key at your side ever since? I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning to go there for years, but it's one of those things that you talk about and you do it. His brief laughter turns into a cough. She didn't want to take the stall after you? Nah, but that's fine. She hates me. It's better for her to take after her mother. Your daughter hates you? His low voice sounds like grunting. Since you have to know, our laws make me admit I was a wife beater, and by my own deeds I've lost my family. My daughter has a new father now, and I'm not allowed to marry again. As he starts to speak faster, he also wags his finger at you. But I never touch my girl. Keeping her safe is the right thing to do. Ever if it doesn't make things right. Fine, I'll look for it. Good, he smiles. Anything else? No, I walk away. There's 4 hours. Maybe I should go back to the Pelt. to rest at the Pelt. Let's talk with the innkeeper. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that, like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with his fists. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short grey hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. "How can I help you, traveler?" His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around, as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. How if I travel? How long does it take to go to the Pelt of the North? Or maybe I'm just gonna, just 4 more hours. Maybe I just spend the whole day here, yeah. Thanks. I leave the square. Let's explore the city. Let's see how... it takes 2 hours to go to the Pelt of the North. I have 4 hours. So I'll take 2 more hours talking around here, and then I'll go Pelt to the north. Do I need food rations? No. You know what? There's nothing else here. I'm gonna travel back to the Pelt, because next day I'm gonna go the other direction. The guard ignores your arrival. As you ride in, the other hunters spread across the wall, observing the area. At this hour, the armorer's workshop is closed. I go to the well. I approach the guards. You return to the guard in yellow armor. There's no new conversation needed here. I approach the inn. The windows are closed, and while there's a few guards eating and drinking, the hall is clean. The innkeeper is leaning on the counter, dividing a small pile of dragon bones. Something bothering you? Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you are someone worth changing habit for. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's sleep, that's it for the day. I'm gonna sleep in a room, I'm gonna pay for it. Just 1 coin. You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening, people are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to the light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top of the walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. Oh, I'm gonna help them. You look for Ngambuso and Blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. "You are a guest, stay here," he says without a shadow of hesitation. "My team has no time to worry about outsiders." Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people who need my help all the time. The small room is quiet and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate, bearing an aromatic breakfast, fresh rye bread, a sausage, a bowl of berries, and a mug of malty beer. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks you if you need anything. I'm clean and tidy. The last time I played this game, I was dirty all the freaking time. You step outside. Agro is lazily looking around. At this hour, the armorer workshop is closed. I'm gonna travel, and I'm gonna go the other direction. The curvy road east is overgrown. Agro trots when it has a chance, but more often it walks, forced to jump over the large branches blocking the path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. I observe the dark forest, ready to react if anything jumps at me. A couple of stone slabs were turned into a hut-like shape, one of the ancient chapels raised by the priests of the United Church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens proved to be specifically durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. You dismount and look around. I approach the hourglass carved into the stone. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. That word is hard for me to pronounce. The winged hourglass portrays the ephemerality, another difficult word for me to pronounce. How ephemeral life is, and the rigidity of time. When possible, they are made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind, determination, and innovation. As a member of an Order of Truth, I should bow before the hourglass to honor the brave builders of the past. It's but a sign trying to protect an obsolete building. Nah, let's show some reverence. You stay in front of the symbol, lowering your head and gathering your thoughts. You try to imagine the struggles of the valiant builders who put their time, sweat, and blood into gathering, shaping, and transporting these huge rocks. They were led by a vision, one that requires artistry, planning, the sense of shared purpose. They did it for the sake of the future generations, and even if their names are forgotten, they saved many lives. The orders teach to be thankful to such sacrifices. In your silent prayer, nature seems both distant and complementary. It doesn't shape itself around your thoughts, but you feel like nothing is going to hurt you. Not while you are here. For a while, you balance between chaos and order. So be it, you say at the end of your prayer, as the tradition has taught you. The birds are singing delightfully. After my prayer, I step away. I enter the chapel. The beams of light get through the gaps between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers have sat on the cold rock observing the entrance with their heavy eyelids. I light up a candle. You unpack the tinderbox from your saddles, then place the flints and the linen char cloth. Is it linen or linen? I don't know. On the narrow slab sticking out to the right of the entrance. Decades ago, before the Zerdan invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have left is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not the best, but enough to make a couple of sparks. Sadly, the weak light is hardly enough for you to let you examine the chamber. I look for clues carefully. You touch your surroundings, bringing the candle closer whenever something catches your attention. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are sections free of any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand. In one spot you find the remains of charred wood. Also, you notice stick soot on the walls. Parts of it cover black marks and pictures, possibly leathers. Keyhole? You either don't find it or I cannot understand you. Door? There are no doors in the walls, and considering the size of this dolmen, it has only one chamber. Trapdoor? You make a couple of small holes in various spots, but the most interesting area turns out to be hidden beneath the remains of an old campfire. You move all the ash and pieces of wood until you find a well-preserved plank. You dig around, finding a solid trapdoor locked with a steel padlock. You insert the key, and after a bit of wiggling, something clicks. The padlock is cold, dirty and rusty, but you easily get to the iron latch, which moves away smoothly. You have no problem unlocking the trapdoor. You lift the hatch, and the heavy, humid air suggests an abandoned farm cellar. Your candle allows you to estimate that the tunnel is roughly 15 feet deep, but there's no ladder that you can use. You think about lowering the rope, but you realize that one of the brick walls is covered with large holes, meant to be used as a sort of vertical stairs. You hear no sound coming from the tunnel, but the moldy walls and old cobwebs are not very welcoming. I climb down. You have to move slowly, learning the new route. You hug the cold, moist wall, seeking the support for your boots. It doesn't take long before you feel comfortable enough to jump down, then light up another candle. Both the walls and the floor are made of stone slabs. You see no movement, no other sources of light. The short tunnel leads you to a small room. The room smells of rotten wood and fungi. Abandoned junk is scattered on the ground and shelves. Earthenware jars, rotting scraps of linen and leather, wooden plates, bones for carving, and rusty iron tools. While these odds and ends may be years or decades old, the basement could be just as ancient as the main floor of the chapel. The only thing that seems to be uniquely fresh and durable is a small wooden box held together by a few fiber cords. I take the box. It doesn't feel empty, but it's light. You shake it for a bit, trying to guess what's inside. You can't open the box without cutting the cords. The box belongs to someone. For now, I'm going to keep it in one piece. The journal already told me that it is what I was looking for. But I don't want to open it right now. I wanted to keep it safe inside the box. Using the light of your candle, you memorize the holes. You climb up quickly. I go outside. Agro is looking for the next clump of grass to graze upon. Let's keep traveling. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures, which notice your presence quickly. Okay, the music changed. I didn't realize we were in a danger area. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs in shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. What are they? They are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them. And you see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back. Are these bears? Grunting and glancing at one another. The one with grey fur shouts, and the others move toward the rocks and sticks, which are piled on the road. They hold them oh, they are nose. Are they? Bestiary. Thought they would be nose. Are they trolls? No, their trolls are too big. Runners? No, these are birds. Huntlords? There's no description of Howlers? No, those are monkeys. Goblins? Oh, move both on 2 legs and on all 4. So yeah, I'm encountered goblins. They resemble apes. Okay, so these are goblins. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. Grab my axe and hold the reins tightly. Agro tries to turn around, but loyally follows your direction. I charge at the goblins in the middle of the road. I scream at the pack, shaking my weapon. I try to scare them away. I may still have time to load my crossbow. I throw them some food, maybe no. I look behind me, just to make sure they are not already there. I make a few threatening swings, focusing my attention on the beasts that enter the forest. I dismount and prepare. No, dismount, no. I look behind me. You see a surprised goblin, which, as far as you can tell, was not a part of the group surrounding the carcass. It's holding a wooden spear, or rather a pointy stick longer than a creature's tall. I need to charge at the goblins. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Your mount speeds up, though it doesn't have enough space to enter gallop. You prepare your weapon, but while you may have hundreds of hours of training behind you, hardly any of them happened in the saddle. You do your best to focus. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse, but the strike it receives sends it into the nearby bush, screaming in pain. The grey one, however, manages to grab your boot, and is now trying to keep up with your speed, making one long leap after another. The first strong swing of your axe wasn't able to reach the target. A spear would do better in this scenario. I kick it off. You swing your foot around, or at least you try, overwhelmed by the weight and muscles of the beast. You finally find the right moment just when the goblin lands on its paws. The precise heat between his eyes makes it roll over the road, and your mount runs faster. Your legs free, the road's clear. We ride as fast as we can. For a few moments you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but soon after that, it's again only you and your mount. Time to see what we are going to find down the road. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer, walking over the thin branches at the top is not much of an issue. Even Agro, led on a rope, could walk around the stump, but a large wagon couldn't move onward in one piece. At least not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with proper tools, and you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. I'm gonna take a quick break, because there's a lot of reading in this game. I need to refresh and stretch a little bit before I continue. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, stretched and refreshed. Let's continue the playthrough. So there's the tree there blocking the way. I can't get rid of it, so I'll just look around the surrounding area. You walk deep into the wilderness, searching through the shrubs and trees. You don't find any side paths, nor remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. The tree. The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and the other bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. The stump. You don't find any marks of a maw or paws. The top is hip high and unnaturally smooth. You could comfortably sit down on it, so someone cut it. The tracks. In the trampled grass you find two sets of tracks to follow. There has no footprints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarers suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat sheep boots, not sustained for long walks, but someone was wearing a hard, wide heels distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 2 dozen people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. The wagon. The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather and fiber, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails and clamps, which are now all gone. The wheels are missing their steel rims. The wheels are missing their steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. It only takes 2 steps to disappear into the deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and it's filled with the sound of frogs, insects and birds. It's not a good spot to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp pulled by the flow of the river are crowded with fish and four-legged creatures that you don't even recognize. You keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight and no sign of shells that would be left nearby. There are no berries left, only broken twigs, fallen leaves, and trampled grass. You notice a pointy arrow made by a human hand, with a head made of horn and black-orange fletching. You don't know what type of bird would have such feathers. You see no arrow marks around, not even on the wagon. The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire, charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks leading to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. Yeah, there was definitely an ambush going on here. The road here is already being overgrown, fading away, but it's in no worse shape than the other parts of the certain route. No alternate path has formed around the blockade. I think I know what happened here. Do you think you know what has happened to the tree? It was cut down to set up an ambush. Why was the wagon abandoned? It was attacked by highwaymen. What was originally transported on the wagon? And it's impossible to tell. What happened to the owners of the wagons? They turned back, maybe? Impossible to tell. You think that the tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart which transported unknown contents was attacked by highwaymen. Its owners are missing. Are you sure this is most likely what happened? I'm sure. While you can't be sure of what really happened here, you don't think there's much left for you to find. Let's hope you haven't missed anything. Let's keep traveling. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after the tree roots tear the path apart, the road is coated with branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts, and some seedlings have already broken through the pitted. Okay, that bird in the soundtrack scared me. And some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface of the road. If left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim this place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guard could fire the crossbows or drop stones on the opponents below, so this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in specifically untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the year, the cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on the top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce cold wind. I approach the entrance. I look at this. I walk to the gate. I examine the campfire spot. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it. I look at the signpost. The planks and ladders are damaged by decades of rain, frosts, borers, and claws. You scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing in a different direction. The ladders don't tell you anything. The plank on the top points both south and north, but there are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. The one beneath it points east, and there is a word written in blue paint. The arrow here looks like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower surrounded by little houses and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. Oh, pointing west suggests danger. Okay, got it. I approach the entrance. You take a look at Agro. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind, and when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes as you push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure that there are no windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. I look through the keyhole. You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. You see the shapes of wood and furniture, like tables, casks, and a ladder, but the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in sunbeams. I walk to the gate. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with an actual rock face. Such a structure could be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop any travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere? Deer or other animals used to running here with no hindrance must have been more than annoyed, a risky investment. You touch the gate made of a high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open and you don't see any wooden bar that would be used to lock it. You try to move the cold planks buried in dried out mud, but with no luck. It would require some wearing digging. Let's check the trees. It must be a human-made copse. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who are meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sowed to carpenters and coppers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse you find wild fennel and lettuce, thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries among nearby trees and shrubs. Let's keep traveling. Let's go north. With no trees or crags blocking the sun, the road's bright and inviting. The simple bridge is centuries old, beaten by time. It makes you think of the Dolmen you saw south of here. The torrent here is deep and fast with plenty of fish. The boat is destroyed beyond repair, rotten, falling to pieces, with holes in the floor and on the sides, overgrown with fungi and moss. The thick shrubs lining the path are covered with thorns. Small birds are jumping from one twig to another, pecking at the brown berries. You think about picking some of the fruits, but you are not sure if they are edible. I have many hours, so I take a closer look at the fish. You see dozens of red and gray shells. As you walk by, they stay close, following your steps. I do have hours, so I'm gonna look around. After what feels like an eternity of searching around the boat, the banks, and the shrubs, you sit down on the bridge to take a break. Then realize you haven't actually looked beneath it. You kneel on the grass and look into the darkness. Among the cobwebs and bugs, you spot an old piece of fabric pinned under a rock. You pull it out and find a rotting, torn pouch that contains a single dragon bone. You make sure you haven't missed the other ones in the dirt, but if they ever existed, they have rolled down and sunk for good. Agro peacefully chews the grass, enjoying the sun on its back, ready to take a nap. Let's save, a quick save, and let's keep moving. Oh no, the music changed. Good thing I saved. The gentle road leads downhill, getting greener and less rocky the farther north you get. Just in case your eyes run toward a few Just in case your eyes run toward a few drier parts of the meadow and you instantly shout at Agro to make haste. A pack of short-haired wolves, at least 20, oh 20 is a lot, 20 members strong, is chasing after you. Their coats are a mixture of yellow, black and white spots, as if someone threw mud and paint at them. They move toward the road with a human-like speed, and you realize only some of them are running straight to you. They're trying to cut through my path. If it wasn't for your paw fray, the beasts would have already caught up with you. Their trap was perfectly set up, not leaving you any path of escape. Your terrified mount is disciplined enough to stay on the beaten path, and even though one of the big-eared wolves almost sinks its teeth into your mount's thigh, you manage to squeeze between the hunters. For the next few minutes you do your best to get further away, and while your gallop is indeed faster, the wolves easily shorten the distance by moving through the sparse forest. You ride past a wooden cabin placed in the clearing at the bottom of the rock face, but you can't stop while the pack is still at your back. Maybe I have something I could use here. You think about our sacks and bundles, but the pack won't wait for you to sort the things out. The group gets larger the further you grow, as even more of its members previously hidden among the trees and grasses now join the hunt, allowing their tired family members to slow down. You may be able to lose them after some time, but scaring or wounding some of them might force them to give up their prey sooner. You reach for the drown, crossbow and a boat, then lock your sight on the closest creature. You wait until you learn its rhythm, then shoot once it's in mid-air. The arrow flies through the wolf's flesh, causing it to let out a pained cry and plunge to the ground. Its concerned allies howled with fear and anger. While a few of them try to keep up, many more stay behind and surround their pack member, protecting it from potential threats. After another few minutes you are alone again, this time at the edge of the hills. Agro is tired, but patient, more happy to survive than it is angry at your wanderlust. At least you can hope the pack will move to a different place during the night. I let it rest for a bit and look around. The valley is flanked by the hills. To the west, the grasses and bushes blend into the horizon and turn into another part of the forest. The southern hills are grey and tall, with fortress-like rock faces and a crown of conifers. The northern ones have countless sand-colored rocks, lumped together like piles of rubble and clay, bearing hardly any soil or weeds. The plants here are struggling. The grass is short and yellowish, sometimes dried out. The bushes have silver leaves, like many plants from sunny areas. The mushrooms can't hide in the shadows, but as you approach one, you see it's growing from the remains of a dead bird, while others are covering old branches and other plants. They won't last much longer. It will be easy to spot any larger beasts around. You have to squint to spot the first threatening creature. A runner is in the far east, close to the hills. Though it completely ignores you, walking around and observing the grass, looking for its next prey. You don't have to worry about it for now. There are boot prints on the road as well as in the short grass, fresher than on any other parts of the eastern road. Since many mushrooms were cut away with a knife and you notice few berries on the shrubs, you conclude it's a foraging spot for the people from the north, though there doesn't seem to be much food left. There are almost no prints leading farther south. You let Agro keep itself busy while you walk around, looking for anything edible. It takes a fair bit of time. You don't plan to carry around raw mushrooms and bugs, and the wild vegetables need to be washed before you put them in your bag. You finally find a few handful of plants, fruits, and nuts. Next time, however, is not going to be so easy, especially since the runner, a bird both taller and wider than you, observes you carefully. At first from a distance, then circling you around. After about half an hour, you hear its piercing screech. As the creature runs at you, shaking a beak larger than your head, you throw everything into a sack and get into the saddle. It's, what time of day is it? I still have a lot of sunlight. The air is humid but fresh, vitalizing. The light touches the road and shrubs, blocked only by the single willow, wild and untrimmed. You are by a lake, too large for you to see its other bank. But the local soil isn't too fertile. There are only a few trees on the horizon, while the struggling bushes and grasses fight with layers of rocks. The path leading further north is green, bright, and calming. A grey rabbit is cleaning its fur near the brook, but a sound of hooves makes it hop toward the nearest shrub. Right after it sinks into the leaves, you hear its squeal, cut off quickly. Whatever its hunter was, it leaves behind only the rustling of the thicket and a trail of blood. You wait for a long minute with a hand on your axe, but the creature doesn't return. You relax a bit, then turn toward the stone statue of a young woman. Such a monument would be a better fit for a temple or a rich seed folk's house. Here, without any cover, it's already losing its shape from the rains and dust. Chunks of the face and hair have already broken off. It has detailed eyes and human-like proportions, and the clothes are like fabric petrified by a spell. The statue carries the usual traveling equipment, a walking staff, a gambeson, simple pants, now covered by leaves. I look at the pedestal, maybe someone left a valuable offering here. You dismount and approach the bushes covering the legs and the pedestal. You see some old wooden bowls as well as rocks. You try to push the leaves away, but their stems are thick and healthy, crowded with insect and spider webs. Until you remove the thicket, you won't be able to see if there's anything worth stealing. Thankfully, there are no thorns, and the touch of a leaf doesn't make your finger itchy. It's not stealing. An abandoned statue needs no gift. In about half an hour, I could use my axe and cut down the bushes. Instead of washing myself. I don't possess any potion that could help me here. Why would a potion help me here? I have 7 hours of daylight, so yeah, I'm gonna use my axe to clean it. You tether Agro to the tree, letting it choose between drinking, grazing, and napping. You prepare your equipment, keeping an eye on the bush where you saw the rabbit's last moments. You use your weight to move the plants to one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, but you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple of minutes. Then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit, but once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal. Polished rock, bone figurines, moldy bowls, and plates that used to store food. In one vessel you see a dragon bone. It's dark and could be older than a generation, but it would surely be accepted by any merchant. I leave it behind. Let's respect the statue. And let's keep traveling. I'm covering a lot of ground, and it's just the second day. The lakeside is filled with the chirping of cicadas and crickets, as well as the roaring of beasts from the hills. The tall yellow grasses are interwoven with flowers and bumblebees, while the peaceful water shines just as much as the wings of dragonflies. Oh, that wasn't a question. While the peaceful water shines just as much as the wings of dragonflies. This road is often traveled, and the clatter of hooves carries far. Thanks to the vast fields of view, the creatures hiding in the meadows are unlikely to jump on an animal as large and aggro. In the distance you see a palisade and a large building set on the side of a crossroad. Once you get closer, you hear a conversation from behind the wall. Two men are arguing about if they really just heard a horse. Maybe they know some useful rumors. There's no signpost anywhere nearby, so I better ask for directions. Agro carries you toward the open gate, and it's on its own, welcoming an opportunity to rest by pushing out the air loudly through its nostrils. A nearby wooden pen won't offer much space for a horse, but should be enough for grazing and a nap. As you dismount, two men get up from the front stairs. Their clean-shaven faces reveal that they are in their early 20s. The first one is taller than you, broad-shouldered and wears light brown pants and a darker jacket, both of them made of leather. With an inviting smile, he gets up and moves to open the enclosure. His steps are heavy and slow, but every movement is marked with care, ensuring he won't knock down anything or anyone. The second man looks as different from his colleague as the sun from the moon. He's unusually short and wears a heavy cloak made of black fur, so large it could cover his entire shell. He opens the door of the building, hides his hand, and peeks into the room. "Foggy!" His voice is shrilled and unconcerned. "A messenger, come!" I take off some of my bundles, let my horse rest. A hanging barrel sways in the wind, marking the place as an inn or a tavern. The building resembles a merchant's house from Hovlavan, whitewashed and with oiled, elegant wooden beams. The fragile walls are high enough to avoid floods and snow, but you have no doubt that a troll or even a pebbler could easily break through them. The palisade is short, has hardly any support, and has no walkway for a crossbowman. Hardly enough for even a makeshift hamlet. Yet it is the open harbor that makes you unease. Aside from the fish, any creature, aquatic or not, could just walk into the yard, undisturbed. The path is covered with paw prints and claw marks. Better not to leave Agro outside during the night. A black and white bird swoops into the water, then flaps its wings and takes off with a silver, twitching creature in its talons. The large man clears his throat. "And what have we here? Coming from afar, friend? And are there now horses and howlers?" His voice is stentorian, close to a shout. I don't know what that word means. Stentorian. You vaguely recognize his accent as one found at the city harbor. Quite far, kind soul. Agro came with me from Hovlavan. He nods appreciatively. A weird beast, eh? A donkey that can kill a man. You notice he keeps quite a distance from it, and holds his hand close to his throwing club. Haven't seen one in a while. The roads here aren't that bad. They'll take you north and east with ease. You hear heavy footsteps. A woman shows up in the doorway and looks at you from the top of the stairs. She's even more towering and stout than her son, the man who just welcomed you, with a massive chest and a pear-shaped face with a prominent chin. Her movements are composed and confident. She may be older than 50, with a mixture of grey and dark blonde hair. She has only one arm, the left one, notably muscular and with a hand so large it could likely chop off Agro's head with a single strike, or crush yours like a berry. Through the slit of her robe, made of creamy warm fur, you spot her trunk-like legs. She runs her eyes over your blade, armor, and mount. Her lips form into something of a smile, distorted by the scar that runs through her mouth. The tall guy looks a lot like her. The tall man spreads his arms, forming a chain between you and his mother. Meet Foggy, friend. Ma, the rider has come to us from Hovlavan. Just look at his horse. His powerful voice turns timid as he keeps turning his head from left to right and back. Too bad we have no hay. It looks hungry. The woman looks at him with amusement, then glances at your palfrey. Hey, a cute monster you brought, but not enough fat on it. If it ever breaks a leg bringing here, we'll smoke it for the winter. No, you cannot eat my horse. She vaguely stretches out her only hand. What brings you to Foggy Lake, love? Just stopping by? Her voice is hoarse, like that of a traveler who spent too many autumn nights in cold tents, yet carries a hint of motherly concern. Adrenaline Dragon, welcome in. How's the games going? It's going good. I've played this game before. It is an adventure game, Roadwarden. I think it was released in 2022. I played it last year. I played it a year ago, and I reached a tragic ending for my character. But this year I'm trying again. I close the animal pen behind me and head toward the stairs. You won't find another shelter in this part of the Dragonwood, especially not in creeks. She scratches her broad chin with sausage-like fingers. You drink? In good company. I shake my head gently. I make a single loud clap and ramp my hands together. Let's go with friendly. I'll say yes, I do, in good company. Am I new to streaming? New-ish. I started streaming last year. That's what I like to hear. Her brief, powerful laughter is enough to scare away the birds from above the lake. Your mount lets out a fearful snort. Let's not wait then. Come, dear, share a story with me and a mug. Without waiting for your response, she walks inside. The tall man takes a deep breath. Go ahead, we'll take care of your horse, he encourages you with a gesture. And by that he means he won't do anything with it, adds the man in black fur. Whenever his screechy words follow the deep voices of his companion, he sounds like a brat. We won't be feeding or washing beasts that aren't going in a stew, but we'll keep an eye on it. They find new spots to rest, the side of a boat and a stew near the palisade. Without another word, I go upstairs. Yeah, without another word, I go upstairs. What game consoles? I mostly play on PC, the ones that I'm streaming. I do have a Nintendo Switch, but I never streamed from it. The narrow segmented window shutters let in a lot of light without letting the beasts inside. The air is humid, but carries not a hint of What's that word? English is not my first language, so some words make me have to take a second look. The air is humid, but carries not a hint of putridity. The heels of Foggy's boots make her steps thunder, even though the planks don't creak. Make yourself at home, she says without looking at you, heading to the trapdoor in the corner. I'll just grab a little something. Your ears catch the screeches of hunting birds and the wind that leaks in through the windows. But other than that, the room is quiet. Yeah, I am from Brazil. I am in Brazil. But I do stream in English. My English is pretty good? Well, thank you. Streaming has helped. Playing games in English has helped to improve. I investigate the main hall, I check the basement. I look where the ladder leads. I investigate, why not? Just, well, investigate. I mean, I'll look around. The room's crammed with stuff. The bare pelt on the ground would be a nice resting spot, but the place doesn't look like a real home. No chests, no cabinets for clothes, no toys or tools for simple crafts that would fill the time during rainy evenings. Living with so many windows in winter would be a struggle. One could clear this place in one morning and move all that's worth saving onto a single wagon. The only things of exceptional value are the cauldron, made of pricey steel, and the hanging head of an insect-like monster. Its mandibles don't move, the dim eyes seem intact, and its armored head tells a long story of survival through scratches and cuts. I check the basement, I look for the... I sit down. Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and wait for the owner to return. I don't wanna keep poking around without permission. What kind of games do I like to play? You've seen the list. I actually need to update that list because I've played a couple more games that I need to put there. I do love deck builders. On Fridays, I usually play deck building games like Chroma, Mystic Veil, Forward. There's another one I want to try. I played the demo and I really liked it. It's called Pyrene. So on Fridays I do play deck building games, and on Sundays I play games with robots, with mechs. Not any specific type of game, more of a theme. I like robots, as you probably can tell for my avatar, and so I play games with robots in it. I especially look for games with giant robots like Battletech, Steel Salvo, and a few others. I'm playing currently Max versus Kaijus, and also Wall World on Sundays, because both those games have Max in it. What's the story of this game? This is a medieval fantasy game. I am a Roadwarden, responsible for protecting the roads, and I came to this new region, and I'm going around, getting to know the region, because I'm gonna be this region's new Roadwarden after the previous Roadwarden has disappeared mysteriously, and I need to find out why. You take a glance at the blood on the table, the scattered yellow feathers, and a bowl of guts and talons. You find yourself a clean stew. Foggy shows up soon, smiling, holding 2 cups in her hand, a bottle in her fingers, and a cloth under her shoulder. She puts everything on a stool and wipes the table clean. "Forgive the mess, just part of the job," she explains without a hint of apology. "I'd rather dress birds in the yard, but the blood lures beasts. Sometimes the folks from creeks bring us meals, but we need to take care of ourselves." She throws the bloody cloth back into the bucket, making a splash, then sits down on a stool, making it look like it was made for a doll. She rests her elbow on the table and looks you in the eyes. Her voice is warm, yet intrusive. "So, who am I dealing with?" I introduce myself. "Do I play D&D or Baldur's Gate 3? I never played Baldur's Gate. I have played D&D. I have to say it's not my favorite tabletop RPG, but I do have a few D&D books and I have played it in the past." The bottle removes its seal seemingly by itself. The wax floats in the air briefly, then lands on the table gently without a word. She pours the thick liquid into the cups with her only hand, but doesn't offer you a drink just yet. "I'm trying to learn more about the peninsula. A tavern seemed like a fair shot. I'm looking for a Starion, the previous Roadwarden. I'm going to need shelter every now and then. I stay on the road for most of my days. I hope to trade a fair bit in the coming days. I wanted to see what I can get here, leave behind some coins. I was hoping to find work. If nothing else, I can always carry a message for you. I had to get here sooner or later. I think I am gonna go with... Let's see. I think I'm gonna start with... I'm going to need shelter every now and then. I stay on the road for most of my days. What about Warhammer? I played Warhammer on PC. I never played the tabletop version. I played, Dawn of War. The Warhammer 40k. I never played the fantasy Warhammer, the non-40k one. I usually go for Necrons when I play Dawn of War, Warhammer 40k. Because again, I like robots. What's my tabletop pick? Tabletop RPGs? I like Shadowrun. I like Tunnel Goons. I like Castle Falkenstein. I like more streamlined RPGs instead of the crunchy ones. Even though Shadowrun is a crunchy one, I prefer to play the streamlined version, Shadowrun Anarchy. But those are the ones that I usually go for. I also like UVG, Ultraviolet Grasslands is the name. The bottle removes its seal, seemingly by itself. Oh no, I thought I already picked one. Yeah, this is the one I wanted to pick. She approaches a window above the table and looks outside. Your beast won't make it easy for us, dear. She places her hand on the shutters. It's not a city inn. I don't cook for a smile. I don't work to feel noble. I allow folks to lay down there for free. She points to the bare fur with her broad chin. But that's about it. If your horse stays outside, it will lure the beasts to us. But if we move it here, upstairs, it will leave... Wait, what? It will leave its droppings on my floor. She gets annoyed even by the idea of it happening. If you want to rest here, love, be ready either to pay with a coin or some food rations, or to spend the night keeping your mount quiet, and clean after it in the morning, will you? She gives you a wide grin and moves back to the stove. How now? Go ahead, enjoy your drink. You raise the cup to your nose. You smell flowers, yeast, and hops. The liquid is golden on the edges, but resembles red amber in the center. It's as thick as an herbal medicament. You take a look at your companion, seeking a hint of what's expected of you. In some places, people gulp down their mead, but your vessel allows you to appreciate the aroma. The huge keeper smiles and takes a sip. You follow her lead. The drink touches your lips. It's warm, hiding none of its subtleties. Drinking mead is a never-ending conflict between holding the taste in your mouth and saving yourself from the tormenting sweetness of honey. Yet, the flavor of flowers are just as present. Too difficult to capture just yet. Foggy leans forward with an elbow resting on the table. Well, for me, it's a lazy day. At least the rains spare us, so nicely holding off till the evening. What's the story behind this place? What brought you north? You seem to be into some expensive drinks? Or let's change the topic. No, let's ask about what's the story behind this place. Do I have a schedule? Yes, I do. I stream on Tuesdays. Usually, I don't have a theme or a type of game to stream on Tuesdays, just whatever I want. On Fridays, I stream deck builders, and on Sundays, games with robots. And do I have any goals for streaming? Not really. I'm streaming for a hobby. I don't seek this as a profession or to get money from it. I just want to play indie games that I find interesting and talk with other people that are interested in indie games. That's my vibe. It's our third summer under the roof of Foggy Lake, but the palisade is older. Used to be a camping spot for the bird catchers from creeks, and there are fish here that don't swim in our streams. When we were but newcomers in the north, these lands were hard to bend, but the beasts got used to us with time. A melancholy crawls into her eyes. She observes the mead in her cup. Every year or so we added something new. The rocks for a campfire, some stools, a fence, a firewood shed, a boat. At one point we brought the lumber from White Marshes and built a cabin, like the one at the Easter Road. I think this is kind of a typo, because or they are just pronouncing it differently, because it's places. Well, wait. I thought I had white marshes. Yeah, I think it's just a typo here. More folks started resting here, even traders from Gale Rocks and Old Pagos. A plenty fine spot for an inn, eh? Her smile is warm. I'm building my home from nothing, you could say, and not for the first time. How about you? Does any of it sound tempting? That's the dream, a place far away from Hovlavan, somewhere where I can rest after a day of work without an aching back. My home is wherever I find kind people. That's something I can ask myself after I've seen some dragon bones. That's the dream, I think. A place far away from Hovlavan, somewhere where I can rest a day of work without an aching back. Cause, where's my character? I left home to escape my difficult past. So yeah, I think this answer fits it. Da. Would I be interested in joining a Discord community? Interested in the time of games I play? Sure, why not? You can, I don't think you can post links in the chat, because I think the mod is activated. But you can send me the link. If you want to. And thanks for the follow. You speak my own words, love, my own words. We have a good home here in the north. Not a safe one, not a fun one, but there's plenty of food and plenty of things to build. I'm already luckier than most. She looks at the place where her missing arm used to be. There's a story there, probably. How do you stay safe from the beasts? What brought you north? You seem to be into some No, what? How do you keep safe from the beasts? Quick legs, love. Her brief yet thunderous laughter makes you flinch. We don't leave any food outside, but our cauldron smells. Every now and then something scary shows up. We lock ourselves in here for days if we have to. Our windows help us keep an eye on the yard. Better that than leaving the hamlet to goblins. You mentioned that having no wall from the lake side is quite a risk. She nods in agreement and takes another sip. We don't bring children and old folks around, but this part of the peninsula is not so bad, at least in sunlight. Not much food growing or running around unless you can live on fish and birds. And the folks of creeks are great hunters, the greatest around. But isn't there a harbor in the city as well? How do you keep the creatures away? I need to whisper you first so you can send me the link. Okay, I can whisper you after I'm done with the stream. I'm gonna finish streaming after I'm done with this day of travel in the game. Welcome in, Madman with a box. Madman with a box. Oh, okay, I can read. Thanks for stopping by. I am playing a kind of choose your own adventure game, a text RPG called Roadwarden. It's an indie game that was released by a small studio in 2022. As I was saying to Adrenaline Dragon, I played this game before a year ago. I streamed this game a year ago and had quite a tragic ending. Not tragic, I would say, a sad ending. I failed my mission. I didn't die or anything like that, but it wasn't a success. And now, a year later, I'm playing it again, hoping to have a better ending. Where from Brazil? I'm from the southeast of Brazil. I'm from a state called São Paulo. The biggest Brazilian city, São Paulo. I think we are at what? I think 10 million people in the city. It's quite a big place. Oh, you're from Brazil also. You're from Rio Grande do Sul. Let's see, what will I answer? They are used to avoiding Hovlevan. The guards and sailors make it too dangerous for them. They mostly stay in the water waiting for treasure drunkards to fall off a bridge. Every now and then something large shows up within the boats or even enters the street. People learn to run away and leave it to the soldiers, but from time to time there are casualties. It's actually the flying beasts that bother us. I like how this game lets you decide the lore. Like, depending on what you're gonna answer, you are defining the lore of the place you came from. I think it's quite interesting to go for the flying beasts. The first time I played, I don't remember having that option. I have unlocked a few options in the second playthrough that I did not find the first time I played it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the flying beasts. They are the problem. You were raised in Rio de Janeiro. I was raised in a nearby city. I'm living in São Paulo now, but I wasn't raised here. You are in the USA now. You describe the harpies and other creatures and how the city folk do the chores with spears by their side. The kids are told to stay inside unless they're supervised. You finish your tale. Foggy gives you a long look. So that's how the cities are when there's no iron for boats and crossbows. I now wonder what the capital looks like. I mean, it's not that important anymore, not without the emperors. Any interesting beasts you hunt for? What brought you north? You seem to be into some expensive drinks. Anything interesting beasts you hunt for? Oh, I hunt for nothing, she smirks. Not since I lost my arm. And the boys outside are not made for it either. They've no drive to fight, you see, and grew up to be wimps. Wait, aren't they your sons? I know at least one of them is. You're calling your own son a wimp? They sometimes club down a hare, but we are all about foraging and bird traps now. The folks in creeks do the real hunting, she adds after a pause. Runners, mouflons, rats, sometimes a buffalo or a saurian. We have no soil for fields, so game meat is all we have left. She stretches out, getting even taller. Do you hunt often? If I'm about to starve, sometimes I set up traps. I don't risk facing big game. In Hovlevan you won't find much game aside from rats and pigeons. I do. Making a monster bleed makes me feel alive. Hmm. Sometimes I set up traps. I don't risk facing big game. I think I'm gonna go for that one. That's hardly a hunt, is it? She leans forward, chuckling. Picking up a dead bird from a loop is not the same as pushing away a warm corpse that was just pinning you down to the ground. She looks toward the open window shutters. Not the same, but probably smarter. A friend of mine was a real huntress for a year or so. Let's change the subject a little bit. I want to ask about other things. What do you have for sale? Do I have money? I have 4 coins. What's this? Oh, some wild plants. Something I'm willing to part with. I'm looking for work. What you can tell me about the peninsula? I know this and that. Which place? What can you tell me about... Howler... Oh, I wrote it completely wrong. Howler's... what's the name again? Howler's Dell. Well, there's a lot to say about Howler's Dell, dear. Her eyes dart around and you have to press her before she says anything of note. It's in the middle of the western road among the safer lands, and has a large forest garden. Its folks eat and dress well and have plenty of guards, and the strong spells of the druids. She scratches her knee, measuring every word. Whatever you do, remember to laugh at the mayor's jokes. Her name's Thais. Don't get in her way. Her voice is as grim as her eyes are serious. Yeah, oh well, I met Thais already, and yeah, I do not want to get in her way. She's not joking around. You recall your memories of Thais, a thin, smiling woman who likes expensive dresses. Foggies could squash her in a blink of an eye. How about... White Marshes? Because White Marshes is the one with the necromants, right? Quests. I don't have notes on... Oh, here's White Marshes, yes. I don't have much notes about it yet. I do like a thing about the notes in this game. You can take notes by yourself. You can input notes in the game. But the quests are updated automatically. As soon as you learn new facts about the quests, like when I found the box here in the Merchant's Medicament, the game automatically adds that note to your quest log. That's a good thing. That's a good feature. It's an old village, placed among the bogs in the west, not so far from here. But the road here leads around the woods, so it takes a good while. She rubs her chin. I'm sure you already know about the Awoken. Yeah, I do, that's why I'm asking you about it. I don't like what the folk there are doing. Not one bit, but I can't blame them. They struggle and they don't know how to protect their kids, their elders. Orentius, their priest. She cracks her shoulders. A quiet man, but preaches like a zealot. Always looks like he's on the verge of crying. She opens the door with a wave of her hand, letting in some fresh air. She looks at the lake. They used to trade in lumber, those from marshes until Howler's Dell started selling their own trees for better prices. The trade to marshes died, and so came the hunger. She looks at you with an unclear grimace on her lips. You may judge them, but at least their preacher gave them hope, even if it's tied to black magic. Let's see. How about what else? Oh no. What else can I ask about? Oh, the fallen. No, not the fallen tree. The ruined village. What is? There is the. I don't think that creepy tree. Let's ask about the ruined village. What about ruined village? Steep house. Oh, I finally learned the name of the ruined village. Dosha left old park because people stopped using the road. The village was destroyed 10 years ago. So, steep house, eh? It keeps coming back to me, the poor little place. Those ruins used to be the richest village in the north, place so close to the pass through Hag Hills. Perfect for traders and travelers. Her eyes show sorrow. They cared about the southern road, unlike the hunters from Pelt. They farmed, looked after the forest garden, and yet she looks away and puts a thumb on her scared lips. They would have done better spending the dragons on a proper wall, not that pitiful palisade of theirs. They were inviting monsters. I still think some kind of sabotage went on in Steep House. Because as it looked, the southern gate was destroyed by a massive force, most likely a troll or a powerful mage, but it was destroyed from the inside. The gate was down, outwards. So I still feel like there was something going on there. Could someone in Howler's Dell have sabotaged Steep House? How about, I want to ask about this tree, the large tree. There's no name for this tree. I call it the necro tree because it drinks blood. Well, not the tree drinks blood, the altar in front of the tree drinks blood. How about the large tree with the altar? I haven't heard of such a place. The large tree? Her broad shoulders form a straight line. It's a dark thing, this beholder. Gives me chills. The druids told us it's been here longer than any human. But I don't know why they keep such dark magic around. I heard that it eats souls, but you know, gossip gets cruel when it's about pagans. Yeah, I don't doubt that it eats souls. Thanks. Let's ask about Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. She looks at you for a longer moment, without the slightest movement. And why do you think he's here? I'm not saying that I do, but baby, you know where I can find him. Is he here? I'm just joking around. I'm just asking around. Let's go for... I'm not saying that I do. Oh, I misunderstood you. She shakes her head and leans on the table. I don't know his whereabouts. He didn't tell me a thing more than I needed to hear. What can you tell me about? Or what was the last time you saw him? She glances at a window. Same as the others in the late days of spring. We were waiting for his return, me and all the villagers, then moved on. I've no idea where he went. What can you tell me about him? All of the villages. What can you tell me about him? She rests her only hand across her stomach, which you identify as her version of crossing her arms. A customer and an errand runner, what there's to say. Your additional questions don't get any more answers. She brings up the man's looks and equipments without adding much to what you've learned from Tulia. He was paying with dragons, rarely bartered. I think that's the word. She adds, "That's what city folk do, eh? Seeking riches, then locking themselves in a chamber, prisoners of their might." I smile, well said. I frown, it's not really what I'm aiming for. I want to keep being friendly. I think she knows more about Astarion that she's telling me. Her chuckles makes you think of a wolf's growl. Did he do any jobs for you? She presses her tongue against her cheek and lips. Well, I'm not sure. He was bringing me news or delivering my messages. Sold me some stuff. Sometimes brought a thing or two. His life wasn't really that riveting. Just another mug guzzler sitting in the corner patching his clothes. Did he sell you anything unusual? She stares at you without blinking. Such as what? Something that hints to where he went. Something he found in a weird place. Something useful, maybe I could buy it back. What do I know about Astarion? Meant to do something for the people of White Marshes. Had to deal with the innkeeper. Was a recluse. Okay. Something that hints me to where he went. She frowns. I'll tell you if I think of anything. I will return to this later. I think she does know more about Astarion than she's saying. The first time I played this game, I did not solve the mystery of Astarion's disappearance. But I think she's not gonna tell me anything now. So I'll talk about something else. Do I have coins? I have 4 coins. Let's see, what do we have for sale? Now you're talking, she grins. Well, I could serve you some of my cooking. Not food rations, mind you. Need what we can save for the winter season. Let's say you give me a dragon and in return I'll cook for you 4 times. You just need to ride up when you're hungry, and other than that, you won't take any wood or stone, are you? Seeing you shrug, she waves it off and heads toward the trapdoor. 1 coin for 4 meals? That's a good deal. After a minute, she shows up with a sack that clangs after every step. I can sell you some scraps. She pulls out a couple of iron clasps, nails, and a broken steel blade. A value trash. We found them while foraging. We don't have a furnace in creeks, but you could sell these bits and pieces to someone else. She observes you for a moment, then shrugs. Let's discuss the price? Let me take a look at it first. Oh, I can't... I can't buy scraps? Scraps are too expensive for me? I just get the meals. Do I have something that I can sell? I have some wild plants. Will she buy? I'm looking for work. Maybe if I do some jobs for her, I get her to talk a little bit more about Astarion. She grins. I somehow doubt you are here to forage for me, love. Not that I have any room for another soul. Let me think. She runs her eyes over the shelves and the trophies. But it's the rocks surrounding the fireplace that catch her attention. The folks at Old Pagos are weirdly quiet. They were supposed to drop 2 wagons of rocks at my place. Can you check on them? Just find out if they are fine. You mentioned the payment. It won't take much work from a rider. You can get there and back in less than a day. Just ride west of here until the road takes you south to the crossroads. Turn west again and you'll find the village. I'll give you, let's say, a dragon bone? You say that it's not much, but she waves it off. A Roadwarden should get familiar with all the villages anyway, right? Just do it when you have a chance. I'll have more coins for you once you prove you can be trusted with the simpler tasks. What can you tell me about Old Pagos? It may be one of the oldest villages in the north, but even if not, it's safe, with strong walls and safe roads. Their crops are weak, but for generations now they've been cutting stone and building for other tribes in exchange for supplies. Some time ago they tied themselves to the monks, and now they don't look kindly on those who don't follow the orders of truth. She pauses, twisting her lips to one side, choosing her words carefully. But there are plenty fine folks, true believers, something lost in the cities. Not ones to deal in slave trading and pillage. Well, good thing I am a member of the Order of Truth, so I think they will speak to me. Buy, sell, questions about the peninsula. I heard there are bandits in the north. She makes an annoyed grimace. What can I tell you, dear? You know how it goes. Lost souls need a new path after an awfulness finds them. But the years go by, and it doesn't get any easier. One day they take a pile of firewood, another one some bread and clothes. After they start hurting folks, there's no way back, even if they are not at all cruel. You ask her some more, but she's reluctant to give you straightforward answers. You don't have to worry about Glosh's band. They hunt, sometimes take this or that, scavenge after folks who get jumped by beasts. But she never tried to threaten my place. You are safe here, and why would they try to bother a Roadwarden? You are still lurking. I appreciate that. Thank you. She may be right, some bandits are just desperate. So, what's the problem with Glosh's band? Why is the keeper of the inn worried about them? Everyone else seems to be fine with them. Glosh's. According to Foggy, she became some sort of tragedy. Okay, the druid said that Glosha listens only to force and looks for ways to display her own superiority. Oh, I forgot the last time I was playing, because I have different outfits. The last time I was playing, I put a different outfit that matched the medieval fantasy theme of the game. This time I forgot about it. I was with my regular outfit. I frown, but by my tone. If Havlavan sends a soldier here, she may face consequences for supporting the outlaws. She may be right, some bandits are just desperate. Yeah, I will bite my tongue. Well, will she face consequences? I don't really know, but maybe. Yeah, I have a couple of skins. I have the regular one. That is this one. I have a more sci-fi one, a casual one, and I have the medieval one. I need to do more outfits. I also have a rainbow mode. I haven't used the rainbow mode in a while. Does it still work? I don't remember how much I worked on it. Let me just test. It's just it changes color every time I speak. That's just it, but it's the regular outfit. Yeah, I'm gonna frown, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. She grabs a cloth and starts to wipe the table. I don't really need to eat right now. I'm pretty nourished. I'd like to learn more about your tavern. Her finger taps on her chest loud. Nah, I find no pleasure in talks that serve no reason. Okay, she's done with talking. I have 5 hours still of daylight. I don't think I'm gonna travel more today, because in 5 hours I don't know how far I can get. So let's do some more conversations. Approach the foragers. Once the man in black fur hears your steps, he nudges his companion and nods toward you. They put away the old new straps they were trying to fix, proper for hares and small birds. The tall one spreads his arms, thundering his loud welcoming. A Roadwarden, eh? I guess we're going to see each other a lot. I'm Elon. And this shorty here is... how do I pronounce that? Tsivi? I'm gonna say it's Tsivi. The man in the black fur looks up, frowning. There's also a third man. Unlike the rest of the staff, he has an unkempt beard and worn clothes made of blue fabric, patched with scraps of flour sacks. He has only the right hand, though unlike the tavern keeper, he has kept the rest of his arm. He's looking down to examine the trap, but his shoulders are slumped, eyes absent. Elon doesn't introduce him. Evo, nice to meet you. Elon smiles. Were you at Pelt of the North yet, friend? He blushes. How is Dalit going? I don't know who Dalit is. The one with yellow armor? She's well. Seems to keep the whole crew together. That's her. A lively color, eh? Yellow? He smiles, but you catch a hint of envy in his voice. Better say hi to her for us. Her boss was looking for hot drinks and healing potions. I wish I could have helped her. Okay, so I think this guy has a crush on her. On Dalit. He glances at his companion, who's currently observing a column of ants running alongside the palisade. They were offering good prices, and she was really good at dice and told us about so many monsters. CV adjusts his black cloak. Our traps won't fix themselves. What brings you to us? Yeah, I think he is lovely jubbly for Dalit. What's your plan? I could use some work. I will turn towards the one without a hand. Do you know Tulia? Oh yes, there was a soldier that lost a hand and ran away from Tulia's camp. It's probably him. Do you often have travelers here? Yeah, I'm gonna do small talk first before I get deeper into conversation with them. Elon's voice is like thunder. Nah, you may very well be the last one this season. Sometimes a group of adventurers, who knows why, and southern traders in spring and autumn. Most of our visitors are from the villages, usually creeks and gale rocks. They leave goods at our place or just outside, and my ma barters in their name with the others. I mean, rocks, timber, furs, and barreled fish can wait a few days. What can you tell me about the peninsula? Civi lets out a sigh. Not much to see here, eh? Trees, rocks, ponds. I've never been in Howlers, he starts, but then Elon chips in. I have, a couple of times. A nice place, kind folks. Lots of grain. They have but one trader, Akakios, who I already met Akakios. He pays poorly, but at least doesn't waste one's time. Gets straight to the point, see? He thinks for a bit. And they are all so tall. Twice as tall as he is, he points at Civi, who frowns and squeaks back at him. Bullshit. You gossip for the next few minutes, but the things they share with you are of little use. They end up saying that you should talk with Foggy instead. She used to travel a lot and speaks with every visitor. So what's your plan? I could use some work. Civi nods, and Elon's voice gets even louder. Glad to hear that. There's hardly any fruits left around here and even fewer mushrooms. So we are planning to do some bird catching, a hunt without killing. Maybe not today, but in 8 days, maybe a bit later. What do you say? Why would you need my help with birds? Don't you just let them walk into traps? Elon glances at the cords used for snares. This won't do. We want to catch a runner this big. He raises his muscular arm and stops it maybe a foot above his head. And bring it here alive. We want its meat for later. The man with one hand interrupts him. His voice is weak, but disdainful. Beasts ought to be dealt with, not tamed. Bonding with monsters brings only death. He has the accent of the city folk, same as yours. Will bring us full bellies in winter? Squeaks Savi. How much do you pay? I mean, it may be a scary trip, but it won't take that long. Elon shrugs. Just show up here at noon or before it. We'll be back in a few hours. We'll get 5 dragons. You get 5 dragons, 2 if the bird dies. That's a good price for one afternoon, eh? Can't leave my horse behind. Oh, I don't worry about it. Elon waves a hand just like his mother. The idiot will take care of it. Who are you calling idiot? The one-handed man starts to object, but a harsh shut up from Savi makes him sigh. His shoulders sag. Elon goes on. He's a loony, and would stumble over his own feet on a trip, but does what he needs when told to. And you know he won't steal it, he hates animals. Okay, fine, I will be back in 8 days, or soon after that. This is day 38, so in day 30 I return here for that. I know this soldier without a hand is from Tullia's camp, but I also know probably won't talk with me until I gain its confidence. I think there's still 5 hours. Can I wash myself in the lake? You enter the bridge and move to its edge. Somewhere below you, you notice a glimmer. Hey you, step back, run! Without even thinking, you leap forward toward the yard. A long, teeth-filled mouth breaks through the water's surface, splashing it in every direction. It bites the empty place where you were just standing, while the front limbs, thick-scaled and ending with claws as large as your fingers, land on the wood. Once the saurian's yellow eyes notice that you are outside of its reach, it nonchalantly slides into the lake. You hear laughter coming from the yard. Elan was running with help, but now stands with hands on his thighs, cackling without rest. Zvi, there is a typo here, on the other hand, looks at you with worry. You see a hand kept beneath his cloak, as if he was reaching for something. What are you doing, eh? The lake isn't for outsiders. I gasp for air and thank them for the warning. I'll stay away. Don't you worry. 5 hours is a lot of time to go to sleep right now. So I will travel a little bit just to see what I find around. Let's keep going north. You follow the road spread between the hills and lonely trees until you reach a solid wooden bridge, not older than a generation. You ride uphill, but Agro manages to keep up. Agro is the name of the horse. It was a suggestion from Kali, who was watching the stream when I was playing the first stream. And Agro is the horse from Shadow of the Colossus. The first time I played this game, I named the horse Artax, which was a little bit sadistic. If anyone knows the Never-Ending Story, there's a horse in there called Artax, and bad things happen to that horse. But I don't think anything bad happens to the horse in Shadow of the Colossus. The dark woods in the south are behind a gently humming creek, while the forest on your right was streamed by locals. It's a peaceful journey, at least for some time. After a few minutes, you spot a group of wolves feasting on a fallen furry beast, maybe a wisent. One of them looks toward you. We ride a bit faster, yes please, I don't wanna be chased by wolves again. Oh, I remember this from the first time I played. I completely forgot about this dungeon. The road fades into an old tunnel. There are no signs of mining, no signposts, no human voices. The ceiling is supported by wooden beams, but the light only reaches so far. The chilling wind mercilessly bends the few lonely trees, while the shrubs oppose the weather patiently. This side path leading west is somewhat maintained, and you find both footprints and cart tracks. It leads higher into the mountain. I tether Agro to the tree, then enter the tunnel. Oh, this is my only option? I don't actually want to. I don't actually want to enter the tunnel, because I remember what happened last time. Your mount observes the area anxiously, so you stay for a moment to give it a good scratch under its neck and say some confident sounding rubbish. You unpack all the things you need to make a new single torch, a log, some old rugs, a bit of oil. You grab your tinderbox and sit on the ground for a couple of minutes, preparing the flint and the lining char cloth. Decades ago, before the Southern invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not the best, but it's enough to make a couple of sparks. The loud, flickering yellow light unevenly unevenly, hits your cheek with heat. You raise the torch, but hold it at an angle, letting the oil drip on the ground. For a few minutes, you follow a fairly straight corridor. The timber supporting the ceiling is decaying, but you don't spot any signs of collapse. The floor is littered with bones and rotting food, most likely dragged in here by wild beasts, but there are also signs of soot above you, and boot prints left on the dried mud. You reach the crossroads and stop in place. There's no sconce in sight, so you'd have to constantly carry the torch or lose it for good. And it won't last for long anyway. The draft is hardly noticeable, so looking for an exit in the dark could be dangerous. Okay, so I need to buy a lantern. I'll go outside. Let's travel. Let's go back to the tavern. The inn, actually. You hear a commotion coming from the lake, drawing your eyes to the air bubbles and water ripples. After a couple of moments, the scrap of the lake turns red. There are dozens of feathers scattered around the yacht, as well as some blood stains on an apron that's hung on the fence. I enter the tavern. The room has been recently aired out. Foggy is resting on a chair, observing you with a single open eye. She welcomes with a gentle nod. How do I sleep? It's not time to sleep yet. I will wait then. Wait for evening. And then let's go to let's quick save. Let's go to sleep. I will pay the rent. Oh, I'm gonna get really dirty. I will need to clean myself. The monstrous shout wake you up. The night is bright, and from the window of the tavern you have a good look at the yacht. A few massive dragonlings are exploring the courtyard, knocking over wooden tools with their tails, putting their noses into buckets and underneath the stairs. You count 5 of them so far, but you can't see the entire area at once. One of them spots your look and moves closer. Still, it doesn't try to climb to the door. Maybe it's experienced enough to know it won't get through. I close the shutter slowly, yes. Okay, I'm gonna save here. And I'm gonna end here, the stream here. I don't remember how long it took for me to play Roadwarden the first time I played it, but this time I'm doing like 1 day per stream, and there are 40 days until the end of the game, until I have to leave this area. Is it gonna be 40 days of stream? I'm not sure. But yeah, I saved here. And I'm gonna stop the stream now. And let's see who is streaming. Let's raid someone. Nekorin is streaming. They are streaming Mech Warrior. So let's raid them. Anyway, that's all from me for today. Let's go.
Let's stay on the surface, because that'll get us there faster. Gorilla. Okay. We have 2 days, 18 hours to get there.
Huh?
Gonna burn through a lot of fuel, but it's worth it. 2 days, 10 hours. We should get there. Oh, there's a U-boat? Hi, fellow U-boat. That's cool. I like when you cross paths with other U-boats. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get there in time. Oh shit! A new target! Go to periscope depth.
Okay, I'm back. I have no idea what would.
Okay.
Yeah, what I was using this to die on me.
We need you.
Give me a moment.
And who else?
Oh, wait. No. Oh, they didn't crash. No surprise at all. Okay, let's put this back into full screen mode. Sorry, I'm back. I was eating pizza. Okay, let's reopen the game. That's the first. Okay. Settings. Control panel. Display. Yeah, I have set it unknown. So the game must be had garbage when I was not logging. Welcome your machine, thanks for the raid. So I am back. Not sure the tree has crashed. Okay. Let's reopen it again. Well, I finished the Megwar one a couple of hours ago. What you were playing, yo? Okay, give me a moment. I'm going to restart this computer. Okay, that fixes the issue. Okay, let's go back to the game. Oh, nice.